What's up, nerd? Neil Nerd?
What's up?
What you got? Is this the Mac Mini?
This is mine.
No, I thought it was. Jeez.
The
Oh, you haven't set up his yet?
no, not yet. I'm trying to stream to both YouTube and Stickam at the
Dude, I don't
same
think you're gonna be
time.
able to do it.
So
YouTube probably has like weird laws about that shit, right?
I don't know. Mission control. One ring YouTube. Okay, so this goes to desktop 1. FMLE 2 goes to desktop 2. Oh no, that's good. Okay. All right.
What are you
So
gonna
we're
talk about on this shit?
streaming to. I don't know.
Do you need me to sit up here with you and talk bullshit? What if we just talk about like...
No, supposedly Cliff's in New Zealand with a couple actors, and they're gonna Skype me in or Skype in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm ready with the Skype, but
Here, when you set up the rest of this stuff, man, like we need to reconnect all the cameras and shit. Let's just... Can we do it neater?
yeah.
Because I mean, last time obviously it was like a quick rush job, but then like
Right.
on Friday, we were setting this thing up, and all of a sudden I went, fuck! And just sort of like Tasmanian devil wires everywhere, dude.
I have a wiring diagram there of all the wires.
I mean,
and stuff.
I think that everything is still plugged in. It's just like stacks and stacks of wires up there that I put in that box right there.
Right, because we needed long wires to
Yeah.
put a camera over there and stuff like that, and there's that wires.
Yeah.
So,
Fucking
yeah.
Louise came in and yanked this one out, dude.
Okay.
It's so funny. I watched him do it. I was like, fuck, no.
Don't do that. Okay.
I don't care. Can you hear us?
Okay, so YouTube. So we're streaming live on YouTube. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7-second delay.
Is that on YouTube or is that on... Is there a 7-second on Stickam?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that one's like... Medium?
No, this is all YouTube.
Stickam.
Stick.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to work, but on Thursday you're gonna show me how to do like the wire cache shit and everything.
Yeah.
If you need help setting everything up, like all the cables and shit, just let me know. I'll give you a hand. Like I just want to like tape bundles of cables together and shit, so it's not like a madhouse up here.
Yeah, let's just organize it all on Thursday.
Yeah, because what we're doing, this is gonna be like our new.
Age of Apocalypse, really gigantic for paperbacks.
What's that?
Age of Apocalypse, a chunky one.
Yeah, it was in hardcover and it's it's not available right now, and they're reprinting it in the softback.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'll be bad like 3 in 1.
But yeah, we're gonna do like this. This is like the new nerve center of the thing, you know.
Right.
So we just gotta make sure it looks neat all the time. I don't know, but I'll see. I'll come with you on Thursday. New window.
each, or we're still like breaking out?
Breaking out what?
Boxes and product. Do we have everything out?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Oh, there she is. The other one or
And you know where your book would be in the store? If they have it again?
Let's go back and see from the mail. And I'm going to start below and we'll just kind of get before emerging. This is almost like you're going on stage. Your stage is stand there again one more time. Right to the camera.
You guys done for the day, or? You guys done for the day, or?
Nice. Let's move you. I'm going to see this private side just because we had to maybe just connect right here and this way. Thank you for being this. There you go. This way, just a little bit more. Yeah, I can't really see it that way. It seems to be there. Okay, well, now we'll just do the water. Help that one. It's wider.
Anybody has any questions? Take it ready.
Is that your is that the camera we're using?
Yeah. So, homemade 5K light setup. These are all rated at 5K. So basically, we have the chat room going on here. I have 2 chat rooms going on at the same time, and talk to camera, read the chat room, respond, stuff like that.
I'm looking to this tripod.
Press, yeah.
There we go.
That was a weird tripod. So we put it,
Cool though.
we put it out on Twitter. We're like, hey, Meltdown's looking for a camera that no one's, you know, an old mini DV.
Right.
It's not even HD. And someone came through and said, here, use this. They're like totally like, here's a tripod, here's a mic, here's a camera. So we didn't even, like, the generosity of the filmmaking community has been.
They just gave you the camera?
Yeah.
Who owns the camera?
Some fan of the store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, and then we've got here.
And this camera feed is just a camera feed. You're not recording anything on this camera, right?
No, yeah. I do all the recording on the thing itself. And see, we're live on YouTube. This, you know.
Right.
So this is a live feed. There's a 7-second delay.
Right.
So basically, I don't have any longer. I think if Cliff actually comes in, I'm gonna have to use the headphones myself to hear him Skype.
Right.
But
I might have headphones in my car.
Well, there's only one monitor.
Oh, there's only one pod?
So I only need these headphones if we start Skyping. Otherwise, you can do all the monitoring. So everything's run on this Mac Mini, and how far can it go? I mean, we could put the camera right here, actually, so it's closer to the. Because I'll just be right here.
So I'm gonna get you in like a medium with the monitor, like the monitor and the mic.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We usually do medium or close up.
Gotcha. Where's our level control?
All levels are here.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're a little soft.
So I'll show you what's the cable.
Right.
So one is master audio, or that's the microphone.
Okay. Yeah. Sit there for a minute and talk.
Welcome to the show. We're here live at Torn Tuesdays, OneRing.net, live from Meltdown Comics.
That's fine.
So, headphone out. This is your headphone volume. The main out. That's master. And then this is.
So that's mic.
That's mic.
Heads.
No, this is mic. This is system audio. So I have a video to play.
Okay. Headphones. Master.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks good.
Want to mess around with the we're not on yet, right?
No, we're not on yet.
I'm just seeing the brightness.
A few more minutes. Let's see if.
Look directly in the camera for me.
Hey, how's it going? And then next week, Cliff is here. Bruce's account, Ray Brewhop. Alright, so Ray Brewhop. We're gonna call contacts. Add contact. Ray Brewhop. Find. We are Bruce Hopkins. Played Glamdring. Looks like he is Skype. Video call.
Are you calling? Who are you calling?
I'm calling Cliff.
Oh, you calling?
And
How are
I want to
you?
make sure they can hear me. Hello, Cliff.
I can hear you great, Mr. Justin Sewell. How are you?
I can hear him great.
So, he can hear you, but now I need to hear.
Yeah.
So, how do we split the audio?
Hey, Justin. How's the show doing so far?
We need a splitter is what we need.
Yeah.
Unless there's a mic, unless there's a mic jack in here.
Hey, Bruce.
There's no audio.
It's on, but they're figuring out some technical issue with the sound. Can I use this cross?
I got you.
You know what Don was just talking about? I can't believe how Bruce does it. I mean, I don't know look as healthy, sexy as you do. When you're an old bastard. Well, I'm already 43, so but see, yes, I'm a teenager older than you. I'm still a teenager, I'm still making you old. Yes, you're going to be great. Their helpers is a great dollar. I mean, I've been making jokes about this all year. Some of the casting, yeah. Connolly kicks my ass. He's the best. We'll talk about. You like Billy Connolly's work?
I might have an adapter.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. But that's okay. I'll catch you up to speed. Hello.
What do you have?
Of this, and then where's the other?
So, Justin is there in Los Angeles, and he's trying to host the show, and he's going to bring us in live. Picture in picture.
We don't have
RCAs.
See, because this isn't going to work either. I'm talking about there would be
Yeah.
the female.
All right.
Oh, God. I didn't. Delicious stuff. I in my hotel room.
I guess you can make sure we have audio, and then I'll just put the headphones on.
I mean, I see levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Okay.
Hello, Justin. I see you quite well.
Whoa. Hold on. Let me turn these down. All right. I see you well.
Hello, Justin Sewell. Hey.
Hey, Cliff.
Hello, Justin. How are you?
Hey, Justin.
Hey.
We've got a couple of chairs here. Here. Do you want to you sit on the big chair because
You know that one down.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I tell you what, I'm gonna. You're very pixelated, probably because of the internet connection, but I'm sure that'll improve as we go along. So what I'll do is I'll just introduce the show, have some news and updates, and then I'll introduce you guys.
Great.
All right.
That sounds great.
So, in the meantime, I'm going to mute you, and I am going to go live. So, hold on. Start streaming here. Start streaming. Hit record. And now let's go to Stickam. Come on. Next. Oops. I don't think so. Alright, we are live. Hold on, folks. We're just setting up the last bits. Audio, video. Okay, we should be on. So we're live on YouTube. We're live on Stickam. And we are setting up Skype for a very special guest. Hold on. We've got Skype. We're going to throw this to desktop 1. We're going to hit record here, and I think we're live. Hello everybody. I guess I could take these off right now. Hold on. Let's put this over here. Let's put this over here. Alright. I don't really like headphones, but we are testing. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? We've got 2 chat rooms going on. Actually 3 today. We've got Barlaman's chat room at theonering.net. You can click our chat, Barlaman's chat. That's our IRC server. We are live on Stickam, the front page of Stickam. Such great people over there, Andy and Efren. We have our video chat room. Zanaseb has hit the top spot. I'm disappointed in Tar Muriel. I really thought she would be first to log in, but maybe next time. And then we've got a third thing going on. We're at youtube.com/meltdowncomics. And we're experimenting with this new YouTube live thing. You might have seen it during Coachella. Well, we're using the same technology that Coachella uses here. I don't know how, I don't know why we're so privileged, but we did start on time. Ted is in the chat room saying, I can't believe these guys started on time. What did we start? We started the OneRing.net Torn Tuesdays. This is our weekly show about all things Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Usually your show is hosted by Cliff Broadway, but he's in New Zealand, and I think we have something really special to show you in just a few moments. So I'm Justin. I'm here in Hollywood at Meltdown Comics, the center of all things geekdom right now, and lots of activity going on. And I wish I was in New Zealand. You know, all these people in the chat room. Well, don't tease me yet. Don't tease me. So we've got a very special show for you today. But this week, let's just catch up on some news. So Mr. Sear, our humble reporter, had just returned from New Zealand. He was embedded in the production and of the second movie, There and Back Again, which will be out next year, next December. So all the stuff that the One Ring was given access to, we can't even talk about or even hint at until next year. And the first movie hasn't even come out yet. So, and for those who don't know, The Hobbit is coming out this December. It's 2 movies. It's being split into 2 movies. That one little book, 2 movies. First one is this December, An Unexpected Journey. The sequel will be next December, There and Back Again. And, you know, like every live show, we're just checking the sound. Sound is out. Hold on. Sound's working fine. Okay, so Ambassador Took. Yeah, we've got levels. It might be your connection. Okay, that's good. I love this instant feedback. So usually Cliff is the one that's talking. I don't know why people would want to listen to my nasally voice, but what happened this week? Yesterday was Kate Blanchett's birthday. She got more birthday wishes than Sean Bean did. So that says something about the Lord of the Rings fans. Elves are more have more fans than men, I guess. I don't know. But we are about to Skype in, live from New Zealand, Cliff Broadway, who is at the personal home of Bruce Hopkins. And let's hope this works. Let me put my headphones on and hold on. Maybe we'll get this working. The jiggery pokery, as Cliff likes to say, and we're gonna go to him, and let's see if we can get this up. Picture-in-picture, desktop, refresh. We are going to Skype current call. There we are, picture-in-picture. All right. Hey guys, are you over there?
We're right here.
Lights, camera, sound, speed, and action.
Beautiful.
Hey guys.
Hey.
How are you doing there in Los Angeles?
Hey, we're great here. The sun is shining. The people are shopping, and it's quite a big thing that technology is working this week. All the way from New Zealand. How's it going down there? You did you just get off the flight, and how did you end up at his house? Like, tell us the story.
What the hell are you doing in my house?
How did I get here? I stepped into a TARDIS, and all of a sudden, bam! I'm here in Auckland, New Zealand.
I was just taking a dump, and then suddenly, bam! There he is, in my little room. I stepped out of the TARDIS. It was like, what?
Well, I thought it was a porta potty, actually, and here I am at Bruce's place. Hey, all kidding aside, I hope you can hear the sound okay. My flight across the ocean was really fine. It was very fine. There were no problems. It was a non-eventful flight, and I guess that's the best you can hope for most of the time. And here I have my friend, Bruce Hopkins, who has been a friend of the OneRoom.net for many, many, many years, and he was very kind enough to meet us at the airport and to show us around Auckland. Yesterday we had a wonderful whirlwind tour that was just a couple of hours. We got to see some amazing things. And I said, hey, by the way, Bruce, if you happen to have a free minute, would you like to do the live show? And here we are.
And I had a free minute. In fact, the rest of my life was free. At this point in time, I'm looking for bookings. If any directors or any producers.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. So, are you guys following along in the chat room today? And can you see what other people are typing to you?
Well, we're about to. No, we have not yet opened that. I'm going to open that window in 1 second. The thing is, I've been trying to get several different computers to work here, and I'm going to go into the chat room right now, logging in as the real quick beam. I'm not in the stickcam version of the chat. I will be in Barlands on the live event page for the OneRoom.net, and here I am right now.
Of the several different computers, only one of them is mine.
I believe it.
I don't know where he got the others.
So you can imagine how Peter Jackson is previewing all the 3D footage from all the remote crews that are flying around New Zealand, and the task force that's involved in making sure that all the technology works, and all we're doing is trying to Skype with some fans.
Yeah, but we're doing it on a smaller budget too.
Yes, indeed.
So it might be a little choppy, but that's okay. It's better than nothing at all.
Yes, exactly. So we've got, I've actually pulled a clip. It was the only clip I could find on YouTube when I searched for Bruce Hopkins, and it is a clip from the Two Towers, I believe. And let's play that and get a little refresher of the character that you played.
Absolutely.
So let's
here.
And
we actually have this extraordinary book. And I have this really great photo. You guys remember this? This is a fantastic shot of Bruce in full hero armor. There it is. You were on the set of Helm's Deep where this photo was taken.
That was actually my first day of shooting.
Really?
On Helm's Deep, yeah.
And was that the Upper Hut, the outdoor location?
On the motorway towards Upper Hut, toward Lower Hut.
Yeah.
From Wellington.
Where that
in a quarry.
That quarry was there, yeah.
Wow.
That's where they built 2 sets. Of course, they took down the Helm's Deep set and rebuilt the Minas Tirith set.
Yeah, and they also, while we had Helm's Deep there, they had 2 sets because they had one that was a smaller scale as well.
Right.
It was astounding, the level which they went.
So we've got a clip from Helm's Deep. Let's we're gonna play that, and the audio will still be live. So
great. So we can comment over it.
Yeah, so we can comment over it. I'm not sure how much you'll be able to see, but here we go.
Okay. Hopefully.
Every villager able to wield a sword has been sent to the armory. My lord.
Who am I, Gamling?
You are our king, sire.
And do you trust your king?
Do you trust your king?
My lord.
I trusted my king implicitly.
You to whatever end.
To whatever end. Where is the horse and the rider? Where is the horn that was blowing? They have passed like rain on the mountains, like wind in the meadow. The days have gone down in the west, behind the hills, into shadow.
The fans in the chat room are quoting the movie before it even gets to the line.
Yeah.
So
It was an interesting thing to come to because it was the first time that I was just burned it myself. So up until then, we'd always been surrounded by heaps of extras and the armies and the peoples of Raw. And so it was a little bit of a scary moment in a way because suddenly it was like, you kind of realise that you were actually part of the focus, even though the focal point is, of course, Theoden, King Theoden, and his delivery of a beautiful piece. But it was quite a sort of fascinating day to shoot. And what was really cool about it was my 3 kids. They had school holidays on this time that I was down in Wellington, so I flew them down to come down and stay with me, and they stayed with me in my hotel room. I think we might have got another hotel room for them as well. They came out, it was my 2 sons, sorry. They came to sit with me. I cleared it and they were allowed to come to sit with me. And there's a shot at the beginning when it's completely silhouetted because the bright light behind Theoden. And if you slow that down, you'll see there are some figures sitting low in the doorway. And those are my 2 sons. They put cloaks on them and dressed them up as if they were refugees, from Rohirrim. So Rohirrim refugees, so they're sitting in front of that doorway, and it's quite cool. You just see them as these shadows, if you know what you're looking for.
That's fantastic.
Bruce, how many days were you on location at that external deep set from those nighttime scenes? And I've talked to some of the other stunties, or that's what the New Zealanders call them, but in America we call them stunt performers, and they talked to me for how many endless nights they were out there in that rain machine. And I want to ask you, what was that like for you?
For me, it was fine because I was just buzzed. What happened? They shot 2 months of night shoots, and then they had a break. They had, I think, a week or 2 week hiatus, and then they came back to shoot another week.
Right.
During that time, must have been when they decided Theoden, Hammer's going to be dead. Theoden needs a commander, someone to be with him, so he's not calling out the orders to his own army.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted me to roll. Literally, I had a week between being phoned and asked if I was available, going to work and trying on the costume. That photo you showed was the costume department coming up to me and going, "Can we get a quick shot?" Because that was their first chance to get a photo of me in costume on set. So for continuity, they look at photos such as that. So I only had 1 week of night shoots under the rain towers and everything, and I was still on such a high that it was fine for me. I really felt for the makeup and wardrobe departments, because they're the ones. Makeup and wardrobe are there well before the actors turn up, and before the crew turn up in general too. And the actors then turn up and start getting made up, and then the crew start coming. At the end of the shoot, of the day's shoot, the crew wrap up. They head off. The actors go back to get the wardrobe off, and then they go back to makeup to get the makeup off. So then the makeup department in particular and wardrobe have to deal with wardrobe issues. The makeup in particular, they have to clean the beards, the wigs. They have to get the feet ready for tomorrow. They have to. So those guys were doing absolutely ridiculous hours. So wow, you don't ever, and that's what I got that from all of the actors, all of the core cast, the Bernard Hills, the Ian McKellans, the Miranda, all of them. None of them came on feeling like they were working too hard. Right. They looked at the crew around them and went, "Oh, okay." Yeah.
Did you? Was it weird walking into a production that was kind of already a third of the way through, and kind of friendships and relationships had already been established with the cast, and then here's more cast coming in?
Yeah, it definitely was, and as my role got expanded, because it was only going to be that week in Helm's Deep, and then halfway through that, Philippa Boyens came up and she had some script changes for Bernard. And they went to a caravan that was off the side of the set, and she said, "Bruce, come along." So I went to the caravan with her and Bernard, and she said, "We really like what's happening. You and Bernard are fitting so nicely together, and the way you're coming across with Gamling is something that we hadn't." In fact, I'll get Cliff to read this book that he was holding up. There were only ever 100 of these made. They're hand bound, and they're photo. Here's all the autographs. We were all in such a buzz when we got them that we went around signing each other's, all the cast. And I was blown away that they gave me one. So I'll get Cliff to read what Peter Jackson and Fran wrote in the beginning to me.
With this, yeah, you're right. This is really something. This is a very unique volume, and there's only 100 of these.
Yeah.
This is amazing. It says on the title page, "Dear Bruce, thank you for stepping into the breach and helping us create a character we didn't even know we needed. Gamling has grown to become an integral part of the world of the Rohirrim, and you have played him with great heart. With our very best wishes, Fran and Peter."
So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
Back to your question, it was it was halfway through principal shooting essentially when I came in. And I distinctly remember one day, even though I wasn't working with them, seeing Dominic and Billy playing hacky sack and playing some games just during a lunch break and stuff, and you just saw the bond that all of these guys had already, and it was a very strange. I'm quite a talkative, yappy sort of person, but I was not talkative. I was sat back and felt, I already realized I knew I was in a very special place. And so over time, my friendships grew with all of these characters as well, and it was very cool.
And this is an original clapboard? Wow, can you tell us about this?
This is, at the end of everyone, in 2002, we did the pickup shots for Return of the King. And so I had about 3 days shooting for pickup shots. And at the end of each day, they would end up having a party on the set. And this was in Wellington at the studio, the tin sheds that we were still shooting out of. And each day it would be a party, not some big piss-up party, because everyone had to work the next day, but it was to say goodbye to the actors who were finishing. And the first one I went to was for Elijah. And so I got out to the studio. They said, "Come out, and we're going to have a party to say goodbye to Elijah, to Andy Serkis, to Sean Astin, So the three of them, it was their last day, and it might have been Dominic as well. So I went out, and I was there a bit early, and they were still shooting, so I got to go into the set, and there was Elijah doing this beautiful shot where he's just Frodo sitting at his desk, just wrapping up his writing, and he looks up and just, you know, plaintively sort of casts his mind to what he's just been through and what he's written about. And then Peter calls and cut. And they did it again. And then they did it again. And what you realised was this is really small set. It was a very small crew, probably only 30 people or so. And I'm in there watching this with a cup of coffee and going, oh, this is Peter and Elijah saying goodbye. This is it.
Right.
And when Elijah spoke that night at the party, there was a party sort of straight away once he got his makeup off and everything. And I went into his makeup bus. It was just buzzing, you know, champagne corks were flying, and everyone was hugging each other. And at the presentation, when Elijah got up and spoke after Peter had presented him with some stuff, he said, I'm 21 years old. This has been a fifth of my life, has been working with Peter on Lord of the Rings. I started when I was 17. So I don't know how to say goodbye. I don't know how to handle this moment. And it was just the most amazing stuff.
Wow.
So I got to witness some very, very cool things.
That's
Yes, you did.
That's amazing. We have a ton of people in the chat room who wish you could see them and they could see you. You know, we have 1,000 people kind of watching right now, and just a reminder, this is thewondering.net Torn Tuesdays. I'm in Hollywood. My name's Justin, and in New Zealand is Cliff Broadway with Bruce Hopkins. How do you say your character's name?
Gamling.
And then how many scenes were you actually in?
I'm not sure. Like I say, it was organic. I think they call it, because I showed Cliff, I have a sword here that I got presented as well by Peter.
Oh, this is it. This is a real deal.
Whoa.
Can you guys see this?
A bit pixelated, but you can feel the weight of that handle.
It's actually an alloy sword, and I didn't get a hero sword made for me because I wasn't in the original script. So when they kept making up scenes, putting me into new scenes, they decided that they needed to give me at least something that looked more like a hero sword. And so they gave me this alloy one to use in some of those scenes. This is the sword. This is the sword that I cut Bernard Hill's ear with.
Oh, really?
Wait. What?
Nasty Urukai were charging through the gate. And I was at the front line, and Bernard and I were standing there, and there was no choreography. And in fact, you know, the legend who passed away recently came in and he said, okay, we can't choreograph this. What you guys are going to have to do is you're going to have to just look after yourselves, but understand the rules of sword fight in film. You don't stab at someone directly like that. You don't swipe at head height. You, etc., etc. So I'm there sort of fending off these urukai coming in, and one of them came through the gate, this hole in the gate that had been breached, and smashed my sword. And just like it is with Cliff standing here,
right here,
it went like this, it whacked. And we got to the end. No one realized it at the time, essentially, except Bernard. and Peter calls cut. And then Bernard comes over to me and goes, Bruce, can you just have a look at my ear? And it's blood just down his neck.
No way.
And they had an ambulance at all times on set for Helm's Deep. So they took him off to the ambulance, they put a stitch in it, so it was a good cut. And they stitched it, and he was back on set a couple of takes later, ready to go again.
So it wasn't a Titanic moment.
It was no one's, you know, sort of fault as such, but there were far worse accidents than that happened on set.
That's fun. I mean, that's like, I'm sure there were a lot of people accidentally bruised, cut, busted, and broken all over the place because you guys were really, really slashing and throwing it all down.
One of the stunties, a female, she was one of the lead stunties.
Yeah.
She had her cheek gashed open, and she had she was wearing an uruk, or might have been an orc headpiece at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys were riding by. I think it was at the Helm's Deep setup when they ride out, because I wasn't there for that setup. And someone slashed as they rode past, and unbeknownst to them, it slashed through her mask and ripped her cheek open.
Oh dear.
And yeah, so she was taken off to hospital. When they took her headpiece off, apparently it was just this pool of blood gushed out. It was,
boy. And then of course we know the story that Sean Astin stepped on a huge piece of glass, and there was Orlando busted his rib, and of course
I was riding alongside Orlando. I saw him. My take on it when he busted his rib was it was an intercontinental ballistic missile. Because what they'd done, they had attached Kieran Shah.
Yeah, Kieran Shah.
They had attached him to Orlando. Kieran's a confident horse rider, but he was having difficulties. So on that particular take, so
was he in Gamling costume?
Tie my hands, Brett Beatty, not Kieran.
Okay.
They said tie my hands around Orlando's waist, and Orlando was cool about that. So they tied his hands around the front of Orlando's waist, and Orlando's horse stood on this piece of rock, this flat rock, and we had this narrow gap to get through, and I was beside him. And suddenly Orlando's horse disappeared. Orlando goes flying through the air head first.
Oh no.
With Brett Beatty attached to him.
Really?
On the back of him.
Both of them?
Because Brett Beatty's hands were tied around his waist.
Oh gosh.
So Orlando literally was horizontal. I remember just seeing out of the corner of my eye, seeing him flying through the air and then just smash on the ground. And it was a hard landing. And he was back at work the next day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
We have some friends of ours in the chat room. They've been asking, was the beard that you wore your own real beard, or was it fake?
No, it was fake. I so envied Carl Urban on that score because he got enough warning. He knew he was being cast, so he was able to grow his beard. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my beard would often, my mustache would be flapping around during lunch, so every time after lunch you had to have it all reapplied.
Oh gosh. Well, Ted, I see your question there in the chat room, Ted, and we're going to try to get to everybody's questions. Justin, you might be able to see some other questions that are coming in from the Stickcam chat, because I don't see that window at this moment. But I'm going to ask you myself.
Everyone's just talking about Vigo. It's like Vigo's the star of whatever. Vigo broke his toe. Vigo broke his tooth. Vigo got
drowned in the river almost.
And Vigo was the coolest dude.
Was he?
One of my first little insights into Vigo was one of the main Australian makeup artists was leaving. She was going to be Nicole Kidman's makeup artist in Los Angeles, and so she was having a party, and I got invited to that party. I went to a bottle store, a liquor store in the downtown Wellington, as I was going to head out to where this party was. And Vigo walked in, and he had his son with him. His son had come over at this point as well. He was a cool young dude. And it was coming up to winter, and winter in Wellington can be pretty cold. And Vigo's there, and he's in his sort of standard clothes, jeans and a top and everything. But I looked down, and he's not wearing bare feet, because you don't wear bare feet. He was in bare feet. He was in the middle of the city in bare feet, and it's pretty damn cold outside. And excuse me, that was my first insight to going, all right, Vigo he's quite a hardcore character.
He's very cool. I went to his photography art show.
Yeah.
Years ago, he had a special opening at Bergamot Station in Santa Monica.
I remember that.
Very, very cool place. They have interesting art galleries and some cool spaces. And he was there to show most of those photographs that were published in his book. And the really intimate pictures of snowflakes falling on Elijah and some really cool stuff. Yeah, I think you've seen some of these before.
I'll you carry on, because I've just seen this comment about Vigo topping the medical list.
Yes, people were just talking that Vigo topped the list of medical catastrophes.
Yeah, Northrunner in the chat room is saying we're doing a medical recap of Lord of the Rings for the first time. A full medical recap of all the injuries from Lord of the Rings.
Injuries. Oh my gosh. Well, you guys certainly did have your fair share. That's an interesting photo.
Yeah.
So did Bernard Hill have heads up on his beard, or does he just always wear a beard?
I think he always looks like that.
Actually, that's a really interesting question. I'm trying to remember if Bernard had his own beard. I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
Because a lot of the dwarves and the prosthetics, obviously you can't have a beard and then put prosthetic beards on so everyone was clean shaven. So if you think about it, there were actually few people that must have had real beards.
Yeah, that's right. There were a lot of, in particular the extras, the makeup department for the extras was huge. When we were shooting down at Eris, we only shot there for 8 days, but there was basically like a township, a marquee, tent city was built. And they would bus 350 to 400 extras each day from 3 hours away in Christchurch to be there at like 5 o'clock in the morning to start getting their beards put on.
Wow.
And their makeup and wardrobe done. So yeah, it was massive. The whole the extra setup was huge. So they all pretty much some of the Rohirrim, some of the magnificent. We had some magnificent Rohirrim soldiers at Helm's Deep, tall guys with long red hair, their own red hair and red beards. They were magnificent.
They were cast by the casting department because they had that genotype of that reddish hair and those beards. I can tell you guys from my own experience, when I was last in New Zealand during the production of the trilogy 10 years ago, and they sent me down to the extras casting department, they were only looking for certain hair types and complexion types that would be appropriate for certain races of Middle Earth, right?
Yeah.
And they looked at me and said, Gondor, the only thing that we could do with you is have you be a soldier in Gondor, because my white beard was dark brown at the time, and they said, you have that dark brown, we'll put extensions in your hair coming out of the back of your helmet so you can look like the Gondor person. I would never have made it as an elf or a hobbit, or because of my height and my build and my hair color. And it's kind of interesting to me that the casting department paid that much attention to the details. Yeah. The casting people are responsible for very much the overall cultural look of some of the background people, the supernumerary.
Any director will tell you that casting is everything, but you talk about the difference in Helm's Deep and Gondor. I've always wondered, the Battle of Gondor at the end of Return of the King obviously is a lot more CG and special effects and CG armies and stuff like that. Was the Battle for Helm's Deep more filming and more filming days and more extras on set, or was the Battle for Gondor more logistically? Were there more people on set for Helm's Deep?
I think Gondor was more logistically complex because they had it was a different type of set. Helm's Deep, it was basically the big wall, and so the battle was about breaching that wall. They came in. There was a bit of the infrastructure laid out, but in Gondor they had much more depth to the set. It was they went further into the sets, and so to stage that and film it would have been, definitely been more complex than Helm's Deep, I think.
I can imagine. Bruce, let me ask you.
Sorry, if you wonder what I'm doing, I'm just looking for a couple of photos. There's one here. I'll get this one over with first of all.
There's a couple of what kind of photos?
This is this guy. I'm looking at him now. He was one of the most magnificent human beings you could meet. I knew him well before Lord of the Rings. he shot the stills for all of Peter's work.
He did.
Pierre Vinet.
Yes,
And
I remember.
He passed away about, I don't know, 3 years ago or so.
4 years ago.
Huh.
So he did half the photography in this book, at least half the photography in this book. Most amazing French Canadian. He was just thickest accent. He never lost his accent, no matter how long he lived in New Zealand. So I just wanted to show you that man and pay homage to him and his work.
Oh, when the earliest images were reaching the internet for the very first time, when Lord of the Rings had not even come close to finishing production, we had nothing but Pierre Vinet's photographs. His photos were all that we had. Go on, and it was the first look at all this amazing stuff in Middle Earth that they made.
Here's a photo that, I don't know if people have seen this or not, but this is to wrap up the medical section of the show. So if people are getting tired of the medical stories, this is Vigo. His tooth, when he got a tooth broken.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that's classic. That must be his real teeth.
Oh, that's very funny.
And the caption under that says, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, was tall and stern as stone. He looked as if some king out of the mists of the sea had stepped upon the shores of lesser men. And that's the photo.
Gene Simmons Vigo. He looks like a hockey player.
He does. So,
I had a question on tell us about the casting process. How did you find out about the movies being filmed? Because obviously all 3 movies were shot before the first one was even released, so no one knew this was going to be, the blockbuster that it was going to be. So how did you find out about it, and then how did you get the part?
About maybe 6 months before they started principal shooting, they went around New Zealand to the main centres doing some casting calls. There was a kind of generic, two generic things they were looking for. People under 5'4", I think it was. They were going to be hobbits. Mm-hmm. And people over 6 foot or over, and they were essentially, you had some lines. I went to one of those auditions. It was very generic lines. It was what I later realised was it was lines, dialogue of an Urukai. Really? And then they started shooting, and we had the article in the newspapers about this actor being in town and this actor coming to New Zealand and to work on Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. They started shooting. I had long given up. So 9 months into principal shooting, I got a call from my agent just saying they've Lord of the Rings have called up. They want to know if you're what's your availability over the next week or so.
That's crazy.
And so
you had so you had gone out for the show and then you didn't hear anything for 9 months, and then I guess I didn't get it, and then suddenly, hey, can you start tomorrow?
Yeah, it was more like 15 months.
Jeez.
A year and a half down the track, and then this phone call comes. It was like, pinch yourself. At first, and like I say, at first it was going to be a week's work, and then it kept expanding. And I filmed about 50 days over the next 9 months, and then I did 3 or 4 days of pickups for the Two Towers and Return of the King when they were doing the pickups. Because that, as soon as principal shooting finished at the end of 1999, Peter went straight into editing the Fellowship. Mm-hmm. So then he had to get people up pickups for Fellowship. And so that year was spent on Fellowship. Then, the year 2001, he got on to editing the Two Towers. And so, yeah, and I don't know if you've heard the story, but his first edit of the Fellowship of the Ring apparently was 5 hours long.
Are you kidding me?
So
I've never heard of that.
He had to get rid of 2 hours, basically. So that's why they had to get people back. They had to reshoot, get rid of scenes. Fortunately, I think I'm one of the characters where most of my material survived. Craig Parker, his beautiful work that you can see in the extras. Yeah. A lot of that got cut. They just had to get rid of so much stuff.
That's crazy. Well, we have a question in the chat room here in Stickam. So is Elijah Wood really only 5'4"? If that's all they were casting?
He's probably about 5'7", I
Yeah,
it was kind of a joke question, but now I'm thinking that Gamling never really interacted with Frodo, because at the point that we introduce the Helm's Deep characters, Frodo and Sam are on their journey, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So did you ever have a day with Elijah?
I never. The first time I met him was at a party at Barry Osborne's, the producers.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to go out to a party one night. It was really cool because often I would be the only Kiwi actor there when I was doing my stuff, and so that occasion I was able to start. After a few days, I picked up the confidence, and I was able to start going along to rushes. So I'd go along to Peter's cinema that he has by Weta, and we'd watch the takes from the previous day and have some drinks and food while you're doing that. Like Peter was working, 20 hours a day, and so I'd get to sit in amongst that sort of, and heads of department and the producers would be there, and then eventually it'd be like, Bruce, you're coming to the party, we're going to, Gary's having a party on Saturday. If you're in town, you're invited to come along. So I'd get to go along to some of those occasions. It was at one of the parties that I first saw Elijah, and I remember seeing him. It was unbelievable. He was like a porcelain doll. He looked like a porcelain. He was his skin, there was such a purity. He was just this absolutely gorgeous creature. Standing across the room, talking to someone, just, oh my God, that's Elijah Wood. Look, so I just had to go up and say g'day,
Yeah, it's quite funny that in all the recent Hobbit production diaries, Elijah Wood saying, "Oh, it's been 10 years since I've been back, and it feels weird." He looks exactly the same. 10 years on.
Yeah.
Okay, another question has come into the Barlaments chat, and I would like to also take a moment of station identification and say, welcome to our live show. If you guys have never joined us before, this is the Centerpiece live webcast for Lord of the Rings fans on the OneRing.net. We call our show Torn Tuesday, and I'm being co-hosted here. I'm Clifford Broadway, and there, back in Los Angeles at Meltdown Comics, there's my technical producer, Justin. Hello, Justin Sewell.
Hello.
And we have our very special guest, Bruce Hopkins, the actor who played Gamling in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And now that you guys are up to speed on our wonderful show,
and we're talking with all the fans at the OneRing.net chat. We're on YouTube, and we've got 1,168 viewers, 23,000 viewers on Stickam. So people want to know. People want to know what it was like filming Lord of the Rings.
The man is one of the most extraordinary, generous people, as all Kiwis I've ever met have been really, really generous to a fault. And that's just the way things are in this country. And I want to say thank you for hosting us and helping us come visit this wonderful place. And I'm really having a great time here in Auckland. But now that I have you here,
I didn't get around to saying what the payoff is going to be. I'm going to ask you to do the vacuuming.
Oh yeah, I've got some help.
You have to earn your keep, Cliff.
I'm telling you now. I don't do windows.
I don't have windows. I live in a cave. Someone said that I'm the real hero of Lord of the Rings, or Gamling's, because he pushes Frodo and Gollum into the crack of doom.
That was good quack control.
This is the sword with which I prod the... Here you go!
So have you done the convention circuit now that you've been in one of the most epic fanboy films? Have you gone to the conventions in various countries and signed autographs and met with fans, or is that kind of?
I haven't been for a few years. I went to RingCon in Germany about 2-3 years ago, and that was the first one for about 3 years. But I've been to DragonCon. I always recommend when New Zealanders, they don't understand that, even though we have a big event that happens here called Armageddon each year.
Wasn't that last month?
It's a major event now. It covers the full spectrum. It's not specific to any particular genre or production. But people sort of say, well, what do you mean you go to these fan conventions? They think people who go to fan conventions are loopy, that they're crazy. And
only a few.
I love it because I would far rather hang out for a weekend with people who are passionate about something. than people who are cynical about something. So I used to go to these conventions, and the people who are there, they're thriving on their passion. And I'm not there as an actor trying to pretend that I'm a famous person. I'm there as someone really getting a buzz on seeing how much others get out of being there with you. It's more about the experience that I see the fans getting. I appreciate and I understand that I can contribute to that. So I gladly contribute to it.
Did you make it out to LA for the Oscars and the Oscar parties that we did?
Yeah, I had to hustle. I had to do some deals with Air New Zealand. You know, that's one of the things, like, I don't mean to bring a downer on it, but even when the world premiere was here in New Zealand, my mum was my date, and we flew ourselves to Wellington. We had to put ourselves up in a hotel room. All we got was a ticket to the movie and a ticket to the party afterwards. That was it. You didn't get treated to anything. It was a brutal introduction to the film industry.
The bigger functionings of the industry, which is something where I'd like to branch off into our next subject. Okay, Bruce, you definitely have had some dealings with. We're going to talk about your radio show as well before we get too far. But what would you like to tell us about the state of affairs with New Zealand actors and how things are going with we were just talking about this.
With production companies. We're in an interesting situation. I've been a member of the union. It was when I was a dancer. Back in the old days, dancers used to be members of Actors Equity.
Oh, that's right. Your first experiences were professional dancing.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Professional dancer for 8 years in Australia and New Zealand, contemporary dance.
Wow.
I was with the New Zealand Ballet Company on a 3-month tour at one point.
Wow.
But
cool.
But those days are long gone.
No, but believe me, ladies, trust me, this man is incredibly physically fit, as any dancer would be, no matter what age bracket. He looks excellent. So the next time you see Bruce at one of our parties, say hi, okay?
Don't take my shirt off for anything. Not quite in that category. No six-packs there. But yeah, it's the state of the play in this country, the massive battle that we had with Warner Brothers and Peter was and Richard were directly involved around The Hobbit. It got completely blown out of proportion, and it's only coming to light now. You're starting to see the odd article in the media now about people waking up and going, oh, right, it wasn't actually about New Zealand actors being greedy or trying to pretend that they're bigger than they think they are. It was about getting the employment law changed at a governmental level by Warner Brothers in New Zealand. Because we're now having other industries, this government is starting to go in and they're starting to change employment laws in this country. They want all workers essentially to become independent contractors.
So the government that you're currently dealing with in New Zealand is trying, much like Margaret Thatcher did decades ago, to change the laws and push out the power of organized labor on all levels, not just the actors.
And then it was just perfect timing. Warner Brothers must have just gone, oh, hallelujah, because they had all the funding hassles and everything for 2 years and so. Guillermo del Toro had to give up being on it because it just dragged on for so long for all sorts of issues, and then came this actors issue. And what that was about was the offshore actors. See, I don't get residuals for Lord of the Rings. We don't. Kiwi actors do. We're the only English-speaking country in the world where actors don't get residuals. So we don't. When something becomes huge, I got my day's pay. Thanks very much.
Really?
That's it.
That breaks my heart anyway, because I know that every where I live in Los Angeles, every conversation with every creative person is, how much do I get back end or my residuals or that's.
No back end in New Zealand. That's weird.
Unbelievable.
I can't talk too much about it because I'm on the Actors Equity Board, and we're currently in negotiations with our local. It's called SPADA. It's the Screen Producers Association, and that's one of our biggest hurdles. Is trying to get the concept just the concept of residuals accepted. Having said that, The Hobbit, the Kiwi actors, are getting residuals. They're not getting the standard residuals that offshore actors get, but they're getting residuals, which is fantastic. And that was partly through the international actors. Ian McKellen came out and spoke about it. A number of the international actors spoke out through their unions and said, no, we don't want to come and work on The Hobbit until we know that local actors are going to be on some kind of parity on their contracts.
Excellent work.
So that kind of got achieved. They're still not on a parity that a lot of the big names from overseas are on, but it got established. And then last year, two other movies that were co-productions with New Zealand funding, the producers turned around because they had big name offshore actors. Hugh Laurie, who plays House in the TV series House, the English actor, he's in a local production that was shot on the island and New Zealand. In order to have him on the show, there now is a clause where when you bring an actor who's a member of an offshore guild, then local actors, the producer has to consider giving them residuals and parity in their contracts.
So if you have a show that's
last year where Kiwi actors are going to be receiving residuals, which is fantastic.
Very good.
So if you have a show that's a New Zealand show and it's a New Zealand cast and everything like that, things stay the same. But it's this new thing where, you know, if you have an international production from a real Hollywood studio and offshore actors are coming to New Zealand, then the local actors get a better deal.
That's starting to be accepted now. Yes.
Now, if I recall, after the Fellowship of the Ring came out, and before Two Towers had hit theaters, I remember that there was a little bit of a tussle. I don't know, was it with you guys or with the stars? Like, I remember, like, the Fellowship became this huge hit, and suddenly everyone that was working for scale or below suddenly was like, "What? Let's renegotiate here." Were you involved in any of that, or did this kind of play into the moment?
I heard about that, but unfortunately, they didn't include us Kiwi actors. It was the offshore actors. I did hear about that before they agreed to come back and do pickup shots. They said, "Okay, look, we need to renegotiate these contracts now," because that was the amazing thing, and that's where, like, The Hobbit's going to be brilliant and everything, but the making of Lord of the Rings will never ever, I do not believe, be replicated in cinematic history again, because it was, the digital platform still wasn't in as it is now, and it was a gamble. It was a massive, massive gamble. This little dude from New Zealand called Peter Jackson got given hundreds of millions of dollars to make the movies that people thought couldn't be made, and he was unknown essentially, and so it was a complete. Where the hell did that come from? And then even through the making of it wasn't until the One Ring, you guys, you turned it on its head.
We did.
Yeah,
we did.
You turned it on its head because New Line were going to put a trespass order on Erica Chalice, one of the founders.
The founders of OneRing.net.
So she's the most wonderful person, and so she was going to have a trespass order slapped on her, I think, because she tried to get and have a look at one of the sets. And so it was like, no, you can't get in here. And in New Zealand, we couldn't understand New Line's approach to filmmaking. In New Zealand, if you're a friend of the director or the crew or whatever, they're just asking you to come and have a look, and it's all pretty open. And suddenly we had this company that was making out like some other industry. We didn't know that industry essentially. New Line eventually went and looked online at what this OneRing.net was, and saw the scale of it and the number of hits that were being generated every day and every week. And suddenly someone in the New Line offices obviously went, hold on, look, before we put that trespass order out, maybe we should send an invitation instead of putting a trespass order out, because here's the greatest publicity machine you could ever hope for.
For free.
Thank
And
you.
it doesn't cost 1 cent.
Thank you.
Honestly, New Line, I don't know if they've ever communicated to you guys or not, but truly, you guys turned the industry on its head. What you achieved, what the OneRing.net achieved through the Lord of the Rings was just phenomenal.
Thank you. Wow. I really appreciate that acknowledgement. Wow. Well, it was at a time when the new technology, or we could call it the new shared electronic world that fans were sharing, it all of a sudden became a petri dish for not bacteria, but for opinions. It was a petri dish for opinion. And the opinion early in the game was, Peter Jackson, do not F up our Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson, we're watching you. Peter Jackson, don't you dare mess this up. And then the energy from the online opinion was mostly nerves. It was mostly, this guy did zombie splatter movies, and he did Frighteners, and that didn't make much money. And what the heck are they doing giving the sacrosanct book of the Lord of the Rings to someone like Peter? And when we started doing this 11 years ago, the OneRing.net was in a position of great cautious hope and trepidation at the same time. And at that time, New Line didn't know exactly how to harness the energy of early opinion, early buzz, and they figured it out eventually, but that's because they had 3 years of practice. You know.
Yeah.
And
thank you very much. I mean, Bruce, I have to say that really means a lot. Thank you for that.
Oh man, when I first came back to your question about getting to the Academy Award parties and things too, I did these deals with Air New Zealand. I would go and speak. They would put on special showings to major clients who could bring their families along, and I would just go and chat and meet people and say a few words before they showed the film, and that would get me a ticket to LA. And I would sleep on Sulla Baker's sofa at the apartment that he was living in. So I would sleep on his sofa. I would rent a rent-a-wreck car.
Yeah.
I literally, one night, I rented my rent-a-wreck. I drove off to a hotel where I met Craig Parker in the hotel he was staying in. The wonderful Rebecca. She was amazing, this woman who came on board and helped Craig. She was in particular helping Craig, and then she looked after me as well. And she had a limo, and we would arrange for us to hop into a limo, and we would drive to Bob Shea's house up in Mulholland Drive.
Mm-hmm.
And you just, as a Kiwi actor getting to experience this stuff already, you just go, oh, get out of here, man. And an arm of the government called Investment New Zealand would put on a party each year before the awards as well. 2 nights before the awards was Investment New Zealand. The night before the awards was Bob Shea's party. So for the 2 years of 2000 Return of the King, I went to those parties. And it was just stunning. It was so cool. Even guys like Billy and Dom would be standing there having a drink or something, and then one of us, someone would jab the arrow and just go, look, and we'd be like, oh, Sean Connery, oh. And you're just all starstruck,
Can I give you?
And sorry, the first one, the first Academy Awards, the 2 hours. One of the coolest moments was going, okay, after we're all going to this party that's put on by OneRing.net. And so we went along, all of us went as one that time, and that was just to walk into that atmosphere with all of the OneRing.net people was mind-blowing. It was really mind-blowing. It was humbling.
So
we have a question from the fans here. Alex is asking, how did it feel from that lifestyle while making the LOTR movie back in New Zealand and coming back?
It was fascinating because it did give you a little glimpse into the world that you were playing in, even though we're the small fish down here, and a vast majority of New Zealand movies hardly ever get seen. Up until Lord of the Rings in a way that opened up a whole lot of doors.
And Whale Rider.
Yeah, and Once War Warriors.
Oh, my favorite.
So,
Once War Warriors. Yeah.
So I have a question. What plays into the decision? Obviously, some of the actors you just mentioned, Sulla Baker, who played a few characters in Lord of the Rings, he made the move to L.A. And you kind of stayed in New Zealand. What plays into the decision of, like, you're in this epic movie that's made $1 billion? Do you go to Hollywood? Do you stay put?
Sulla was fascinating. The first time I went over there, and like I say, I stayed with Sulla, and it really got to me, because he talked about his experience. Like, he was copping crap from Kiwis, from New Zealanders, saying, "Who do you think you are? You're not a star. What are you doing moving to LA? You're just a star. What are you, like, tall poppy syndrome?" And yet he was the first. He was the first who realised this was his opportunity. And it took him years. He's now a member of the guild there, and he's in there. He's working in LA. And I have so much respect for him, because it took him years of hustle to do that. For me, there are more Kiwis are starting to make take that gamble, but invariably it's on the back of a performance. And usually it needs to be on the back of a reasonably major role in a feature film, or a lead role in a TV series, possibly. Often it's through Australia and then on to the States, but more and more we do have Kiwi actors. We've had some in past who've been core cast in our soap opera here, Shortland Street, for years, and they've got a bit of money in the bank, and they decide, okay, I'm over this, I'm going to LA, and they come back after a year or two of really trying. They come back broke. Martin Henderson was one of those. Pretty much the only one of that ilk who have cracked it.
We have Cliff, we have 32,000 total viewers. We have 785 watching right now. This is the one
audience. Nice to have you guys here.
Yeah,
this fellow. He is Bruce Hopkins, a wonderful New Zealand actor and a very experienced radio host. He played Gamling in The Two Towers and Return of the King. Do you remember the spot in Return of the King where your character dies? You get squished under an elephant or something?
No, the last scene, the last shot of me is firing an arrow at an elephant. Yeah. That was one of the funniest days of shooting. That was a pickup shot, 2002.
Yeah.
And I was on a mechanical horse. Weber had designed and built this just absolutely crazy mechanical horse, and it was breaking down. So at one point, there were guys on scaffold poles running through this horse, bouncing me up and down. As I was having to I was pulling an arrow out of my quiver and firing off. But that's the last shot. Like I say, they made my character up halfway through. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't an arc. There wasn't a storyline for my character.
Right.
Wait, so Gamling didn't exist in the books?
The last Roman character I remember seeing is Eowyn. Because after Theoden dies, then we see Eowyn, and then she's picked up off the field of battle. And in the extended version, she has her little music number, her little song number with the Houses of the Healing.
I think Eowyn might have been at the coronation as well, though.
Oh yeah, did you shoot the coronation scene?
No, I didn't get to the coronation. I was busy. I had to pick my kids up from school. In answer to your question, Justin, that's what influenced my decision, because I went to LA and I met a couple of agents, and I went to Australia, Sydney, met a couple of agents. Essentially, to do anything with those industries, I would have had to move there. I had 3 children. They were, I think at the time they were 13, 2002. Let me just do a quick calculation, sorry. 5, 10, 5. Yeah, they were teens, mid-teens. And my center of my life is my family. So I couldn't afford to move there with my children, and so I didn't move there. So stay here, because you only get your children once. You have your time with your children once, and then you have to cut the strings and they fly free. Mm-hmm. So we weren't at that stage yet. So I wasn't willing to sacrifice that.
And ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Hopkins is a deeply philosophical man, and it's one of the reasons why I adore him. He's awesome.
What's on the shirt? This is the Stooges.
Yeah,
Iggy Pop and the Stooges.
Oh yeah, Iggy's first band.
I saw them the big day out about 5 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Big Day Out is the Coachella of that area of the world.
Right.
But you just talked about how Lord of the Rings can't be done today, and it was just such a unique opportunity, you know, with the budgets and handing it off to this director that hadn't really done much, and you know, everyone was working for less than they normally did. But all those negatives, also there's all these positives. You had a production where kids were welcome. Vigo brought his kids, you brought your kids, Peter Jackson had his kids all over. I mean, it was just kind of more of a family unit than a work environment. Can you talk about, you know, do you have any other stories of how was more of a family than other productions you've been on?
Well, in a way, that's kind of par for the New Zealand film industry. That's sort of how we have been. So it wasn't like a new thing for us.
It seems like a novelty to you, Jonathan. Yeah, because that's not how Hollywood runs a thing. Right?
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's a little more. No, it's used to, even on a lot of local film sets for New Zealand productions, you would still be able to ask if you just ask production if you can maybe bring your kids along to set today because they're off school today or something, and you're shooting. So if you have a nan, like someone to look after them, then you'll probably be able to bring them along and they can sit on set and be there with you. That's the way it is here. So we only have 4.5 million people in the entire country, so we're still a village, and that's what I think. In a way, that was part of the wonderful fusion between the One Ring.net and the making of Lord of the Rings and the finished product as well, is that I think community is what came through. It fused. It did become one that I think the One Ring.net picked up on the fact that, oh, this is unusual, the way this is being made. People are being friendly, like the dudes like Elijah and Vigo, and they could walk around Wellington on their days off and, they didn't get hassled, and they might have some people come up to them and want to have a photograph or something, but they were able to get on with their lives, and they had the run of the town. They were just welcomed into there.
Who was the biggest star on set that commanded, not commanded, but people just had a real respect for? I mean, Sean Astin was coming in with quite a pedigree of his family and the movies he'd done, from Rudy and Goonies. I mean, what was there a sense of, like, there were a couple actors that were bigger than the rest, and it was a privilege to be working with them?
I think Ian McKellen was definitely, like, I shared a makeup bus with him a couple of times. It was just him and me, sitting, makeup done, and he and Peter Jackson were the two guys I never really chatted to. I would be very, because like I say, as you've experienced already, I'm very chatty.
So that's why we're good friends. That's why we're good friends.
So, but those two guys, I really didn't feel like I wanted to go into their space. I was in awe of both of them. Peter, because also he was always working. He always had time for a laugh. It was unbelievable. But Ian just exudes this what we call mana. He just exudes this kind of power and everything. But unfortunately, I told Cliff about an experience I had with Ian about three or 4 years ago. I got to have a wonderful time with Ian and a couple of other members of the Royal Shakespeare Company when they were here in Auckland doing King Lear a few years ago. I introduced them to a bar that I knew that they would love. I don't go to bars a lot, but I knew this one is a very unique bar. And then I also took them for a drive to the wild West Coast out of Auckland, and we just had a ball. We had a ball together. And Ian, Sylvester McCoy, who was a Doctor Who and who's also in The Hobbit, and Jonathan Hyde, who's an amazing Shakespearean actor as well. They all came to my radio show. I do a graveyard talkback radio show. And I was on the night of their final show. So I picked them up from the theatre and took them to this bar. And then when I went around to say, okay, I've got to go, and start work at 1 o'clock in the morning. Ian McKellen was the one who I thought, I'm not going to remind him. He had said to me a couple of days before, we should come up to your show with you. And I thought, oh no, I'm not going to remind him of that. He's let him stay and party on and finish their season in style. And when I went to Ian and said, oh look, I've got to head off, so thanks very much. It's been fantastic, spending some time with you. And he was, well, aren't we come in? And so we went around the bar and grabbed the others and went up to my radio show. We had a ball. It was just wonderful. So those two in particular, but I saw Christopher Lee. I only saw him a couple of times, and it was at lunch.
Wow.
When we were in the studio sort of part, and he was the same. He had an aura about him. When he came into the lunch tent, you kind of just oh this man is another level.
Yeah, Christopher Lee, I just saw him in Dark Shadows. He has a bit part in the new Johnny Depp Dark Shadows, and he just breathes on screen. He takes up the whole screen. I mean, even with powerful actors, like he just has a presence about him on and off screen.
If you want to see a cool New Zealand movie, it's not a New Zealand story, but it's made by a wonderful, I just did a play reading, a series of sessions with this play reading for his latest play, a Kiwi director called Toa Fraser, T-O-A Fraser, Toa Fraser. And he had only done one feature film called Number 2. And then he got picked up.
Can I spell his name again? Sorry.
T-O-A Fraser.
Okay.
That's it. And he got picked up to be the director of an English production called... Oh, I'm yabbering so much I'm having a mind block. Dean Stanley. D-E... Yeah, that's it. Stanley, L-E-Y. It's got Brian Brown, the wonderful Australian actor in it. It's got
Brian Brown.
Sam Neill, New Zealand's just greatest.
I love Sam Neill.
Well, you want to see
Wasn't he in Effects?
That's Brian Dennehy.
No, Brian Brown was in Effects with Brian Dennehy.
Cocktail too.
And Cocktail as well.
But Dean Stanley it's a bizarre tale. And they shot it most in England. I got to play a farm. I running over and killed this dog off. And I won't say any more about the story when the dog gets killed.
Oh my.
But what you were alluding to, Justin, about an actor who just has to breathe on screen, not only is this, in my humble opinion, Sam Neill's greatest ever work. Sam Neill is mind-blowing in his film. His journey, when you watch that whole film, his journey through that film is absolutely stunning. And it's gentle. It's gentle. It's not some big thing.
He's one of my favorite actors.
But the actor that does what you talked about, who just has to breathe, is Peter O'Toole.
Oh, yeah.
So Peter O'Toole is in Dean Stanley. And when just the first shot, when that camera hits his face, you just, literally, you're sitting in your chair and you just go, oh. Let alone when he opens his mouth to speak, he has an Ian McKellen style voice where they just, as soon as those first words come out, you just nailed the back of your seat.
That's fantastic.
So speaking of other films,
did you work with Andrew Jack?
I think that's the close way of saying, why was your accent so bad? That's one thing we got quite conscious of. There was no real accent that each of these people had. But we did have a dialogue coach, and we had two people. One was a Kiwi woman. That's shocking. I've forgotten her name. I wear my dialogue. If you can wait right there.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. Bruce is going to hop. He's going to hop right over and get something.
Because we're live from Bruce Hopkins' house. I mean, we
are live from New Zealand, and I wanted to give the audience something else to chew on. I myself am here visiting in stealth mode to go hang out in all these interesting places in New Zealand, and hopefully I can even get to somewhere unique down in Wellington. Oh, what's this?
So that says, read that out, what that says.
Oh, wow. It says the Lord of the Rings Dialogue and Creative Language Department, New Zealand, from 1999 to 2001.
Hold that close up. Yeah, there you go.
It's fairly worn. This is my pajama top. So that's that. And then on the back, every department, all the departments put out a t-shirt.
Just now hearing the drums.
Lighting department, the grip department, everyone. And so this was the ADR dialect. And on the back it's got, it's okay. We'll get that into ADR.
So you said live on the set, you knew you'd have a chance to redo it completely, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Because even the sets, even what were being used as studios at that stage were just tin sheds, massive warehouses. So.
Speaking of warehouses and sets, there's this huge debate that has started with the Hobbit Diary videos of how fake the sets look, especially of the forests. And so I guess my question is, when you were on set for Helm's Deep and Gondor, which looked fantastic on camera and looked realistic, dripping wet walls and things like that, did it look just as fake when you were filming on them?
I don't think so. I think the the internal greens, so the greens department, the ones who create the forests and will do studio sets that to replicate exteriors. That's a much more difficult scenario than being on a, like Helm's Deep was built onto the face of an actual rock quarry. So that's a different style of skill really required there. And I remember shooting, we shot some stuff. I'm trying to think what the scene was. We were riding, it might have been around the caves. When we were riding toward the caves of the dead, but we were inside a warehouse, a tin shed, where it had replicated a forest. And I remember seeing that scene in the film and thinking, no, that looks, I can believe that. So all I'm thinking is maybe with what has been viewed so far, possibly there's a bunch of post-production work still to be done before you'll see the finished product, and it will be more convincing.
Indeed. Now let's go on to your radio show. Can you tell us where the fans in New Zealand can hear your radio show directly on the dot, but there's an internet log or an archive so that other fans internationally can be part of your radio show?
Yeah, it's I do 2 radio shows. I do a talkback show. That's on a station called Radio Live. Mm-hmm. So you type in radiolive.co.nz and you'll click through to listen. From there, there's also a studio camera. I started doing a thing where I got to the camera after music hour and I try to do a little magic trick or something. I try to call my show it's officially called the Overnighter. It's the graveyard. And I only do it once every second Sunday. And I try to add on, it's the Overnighter, the Overnight Global Village, because what I do definitely try to get into is one ring got me at base and the people from the fan convention that I've met. So it's really cool because I do have people come online. I'll go on Facebook. We have the slowest computer in the universe. This is a major media company in New Zealand, and the in-studio computer is so slow. But I go on Facebook. I'll have that on Facebook. I'll have my Facebook page up most of the time, and be checking emails as well because some people send in emails or texts. But I'll chat with people on Facebook, and I love it when I see someone's listening. They'll send me a message, say, "Hi Bruce, I'm listening here in Toronto," or "I'm listening in Germany." A lot of Germans listen, and I'll get a Kiwi caller. So someone, a lot of older people at that time of night, insomniacs, and I'll get them to say hello to the person in Europe or the person in the States. and it's cool. I love it. And we have a truck driver. We can have a truck driver from Detroit. Big Mike is his name. He delivers to the McDonald's outlets in Detroit, and he listens to New Zealand talkback on his iPhone in his truck while he's driving. He loves New Zealand talkback.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool.
Big Mike. So sometimes I call him up. Sometimes phone him up. We'll arrange to
talk with an American truck driver in Detroit. I bet you he adds an interesting, colorful commentary.
Well, he's interesting because he's keeping up with New Zealand as well through the talkback. Yeah. So he knows some of the stuff that's going on here. Mm-hmm. I do every week. I call an entertainment lawyer in Venice Beach, Rosen, who he's a guy I met early on over there, and he and his wife are both now have residency in New Zealand. They got married in New Zealand. They're both Americans. They came here and got married. They fell in love with this country. So they have property up in the Bay of Islands. So I have a little. He's my American correspondent, my LA correspondent. Cool. We talk things American with him each week. So that's one show. I do it till 1 o'clock till 5:30 now in New Zealand time on Sunday morning, and then I do a music show on a radio station called Radio Ponsonby, and I do that every Monday from midday till 2 p.m.
Every Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I love it. I don't talk much at all on that one, believe it or not.
So I think that's
and
around.
I just play music. I love playing all sorts of music.
I think for us Pacific U.S. people, I think that's around 6 p.m. Sundays, 6:30 p.m. Sundays, and going east, add an hour for each of our time zones.
Well, this is perfect. This will be perfect music for you to mellow out on a Sunday evening after a hard weekend. As we know, you Americans, you just party all weekend.
Well,
I've been called up in the middle of the night a couple of times to be on your late night Sunday show, because when I'm out and about doing late night music events or clubs or dancing, I'm out till 2:30 in the morning. As soon as I come home, quite soft, because I've had more than my fair share of 1420. I've had more than my fair share of everything. Then here comes Bruce calling me, "Hey, Cliff, would you like to talk with the fans in New Zealand on a radio show?" And believe me, Bruce, I'm 3 sheets to the wind. I don't know how I managed to make somehow. I don't know how I do it. It's so funny. Other fans asking about your Radio Ponsonby show, and Demoss asking, does it stream? Is it available online?
Yeah, the Radio Ponsonby one, like last week, I had someone trying to stream it, and they said they were having it's on Ustream, and they were having trouble with it. So it's a bit of a hit and miss, it seems, that one. Radio Ponsonby is a station that operates with no budget, so none of us who host shows get paid. There's a station manager. He does the breakfast show. He gets paid, and he gets paid to manage the station. So he's a guy, a top DJ here in New Zealand, who I just happen to know. The person who did that show normally wasn't able to turn up, so he asked if he knew I was into music, so he asked if I'd like to do it one day. So I'm trying to teach myself how to DJ a little bit. I'm still put up with the mixing scene, but I just like playing really cool music.
Cool. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. Cliff, any parting words?
Yeah, I do have some parting words. Justin, are you going to do the show next Tuesday?
To be determined. We're winging this.
Yeah, we're winging it. I was surprised that you were available in LA today, Justin. I thought you were still going to be a few days out offshore. But welcome back, and I'm glad, Justin, to see you. And I just saw a really cute little girl with bright pink anime hair walking in the background by some comic books. Justin, you're enjoying Meltdown today, aren't you?
It's fantastic, and we're getting ready to do some amazing things around here. We got some special guests in the works.
We do. Well, let's see. TheOneRing.net/live. You guys, I want to say thank you very much to Bruce Hopkins. You are a gentleman. You are such a scholar and a gentleman, a really cool guy. And I tell you what, guys. Nobody nobody I've met of the whole cast, and here it goes, got more surprises. Nobody I've met out of the cast of The Lord of the Rings has had such an open door, open heart policy with embracing us. And I owe you a drink, at least I owe you a few drinks. We're going to go to the bar later, and I'm going to buy you a drink. And yeah, 1420, we're going to do a round. Yes, thank you, Parliament. I need some 1420.
I just one of the traditions here with my culture in New Zealand is that when you speak on a marae or something, you then sing afterwards. You sing a song.
Okay, great.
All right, play us out.
I might sing all the song because I get so nervous. I'm only just trying to teach myself to play guitar and sing, so I apologize already. But it's inappropriate. I did mine. Everything got the fine. You're here alive. You're really here alive. I did mine. Not a cloud in the sky. To coin a phrase. This is the day of the day. You're welcome as the sunshine. You're welcome as the king. I got it. This is one time. We'll really have a thing higher in mind. Everything is got fire throughout the land. We want to shake your hand. Shake your hand. I hear mine. I hear mine. Tell you that's why. Tell you that's why. I hear mine. I hear mine. I hear mine. I hear mine. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That was too awesome. It was way too awesome.
Don't tell anyone I did that, right?
That's amazing. That's our first live music performance on the show. Cliff, right?
Oh, what's that? Say that again?
Cliff, I think this was our first live music performance on the show.
It was. And I think, all right, that was really.
It can only get better from here.
Well, it was good to see you guys, and I'm so glad we got this going. I'm so glad you're in New Zealand, Cliff. You must be like in heaven or close to heaven now. You're in heaven right now because you're hanging with Gamling.
Fellow red shirt.
Red shirts. We're the first to get shot when we leave the bridge of the Enterprise. We're the shirts. We're the first to go, man. Yes. You guys, thank you for being a great audience. Justin, I hope we have this recorded so we can have an archive and show it to our friends later on.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Thank you so much. Really enjoyed it. Like I say, I love the interaction with the passion that you guys have.
Well,
thank you, Bruce.
We love it. Thank you for such the kind words and the entire OneRing.net community. We'll enjoy the archive of this, and we'll be looking for you in everything that you do.
Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Have a great evening. And guess what? We're going to have to talk, Justin, about upcoming visitation to Wellington and some.
Whispers. We must take that offline. We don't want to spoil any surprises.
I can tell the truth. The truth is, our friend, Sir Ian Killen, is going to have a 73rd birthday party, and it's coming up real soon, and I'm looking forward to doing coverage and doing some real great intimate photos with our friends to show all the fans on birthday event, because not only does Bilbo have a birthday to celebrate, but sometimes Gandalf has one too. So we're going to do the wizard's birthday.
That's fantastic.
And, thank you, audience, for being with us. I believe we hit 32,453 people. How about that?
Woohoo!
Nice.
We got it. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Good night, guys. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, mate.
And that is thewondering.net Torn Tuesdays. It is Tuesday. We just talked for an hour and a half with our friend Bruce Hopkins and Cliff Broadway, live from New Zealand. Isn't technology wonderful? Again, the chat rooms are thewondering.net/live. We are also at stickam.com/thewondering, and we are experimenting with YouTube Live at youtube.com/meltdowncomics. Here we are broadcasting live from Meltdown, and that's our show. We're going to see you next week. I'm not sure if I'm going to be here, and I don't know if Cliff is going to be there. We're kind of winging it, so we'll see you next week. So one of us will, and we hope you enjoyed today's show with Bruce Hopkins from Lord of the Rings. We'll catch you on the flip.
All those people that are in the right-hand corner here, I mean, who gets to choose who gets to go there?
First come, first serve.
First come, first serve to the first second people, yeah.